Hello, everybody. Here we are on Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, like usual. And tonight with us, we have June Lundgren, who is a long-time experiencer, demon seer, done exorcisms, and she's been going since she was very young. And she and Lala have made this connection, which been really interested in watching. June, say hello to our audience and tell us. And we put a lot of stuff in the description for this video for June, so you can go to our websites and see other things. But June, tell our audience about you.
I won't tell you my age because,
39, 39, that's good.
29 and holding, man.
29
and holding. But no, I've been seeing demons all my life, and I see them differently than most people. I see them in their true form, and that's because I have within me an archangel. When I died in my motorcycle accident in 1986, I went to the other side. Michael was there, the archangel, and my grandparents. And he said, you need to understand this is the reason you're here, so that you can understand what your mission is in this lifetime. And I'm like, okay. And he says, your body was created to hold the soul of Archangel Auriel. She's a demon slayer, one of the elite. She is part of the Legion of Light. And that the Legion of Light was created by God before the war between heaven and hell to defend heaven. And not many people know much about her, other than her name means Lion of God, and that she's one of the five that guards the throne of God. But she's so much more. She's an elite demon slayer. So when I went to the other side, Michael said, this is who you truly are. He said, now you need to start doing the work. I'm like, yeah, you can't give me some, sunshine and fairies. You got to give me the negative stuff. And Michael's like, yeah, because Ariel's good at it and she loves doing it. She loves killing demons. So there you go. I'm like, oh, somebody's got to take out the trash. So I guess it's got to be me.
Wow. Okay. She had a weird beginning, but a mostly peaceful life. She had a weird beginning and she's lived through it. So I get it. Wow. So you have some questions you want to start with?
I wanted to start with first. Well, I'm very interested in learning about demons and information about that, but I want to know more about the animal communication first. If you want to talk about that.
Oh yeah, it's always all angelic beings can communicate with animals. It's just a matter of getting your mindset in the right way. A lot of people have ability to communicate with animals, and it's usually like they'll get feelings, they'll get images, maybe a word here and there, or a vision of like a movie. Since my mother kind of dumped me off on my grandparents when I was a couple weeks old, so my grandmother noticed that the animals would gather under my crib and sit there like they're listening. And so she knew, my grandmother was a psychic medium, but she knew that they were communicating with me. And so she helped me to understand what that was all about. And she said, this is something that needs to grow. You need to do it often and, just keep doing it. So, I've been doing it ever since then. It's just, my thing is, if I have an animal and somebody wants me to communicate with it, I get a conversation like I'm talking to you. I don't get like a word here and there. I don't get, I get a full on conversation. Once they realize, at first they're startled because they can understand me, and that's not normal for them. So usually they'll read the energy of an individual rather than hear and understand their language. But once that happens, then they start telling me, this is the problem, or this is what I need, or this is where I hurt, and I just translate. I just, give the message to the owner.
That's amazing.
It's just easier that way. And when my husband and I got married, we had a blended family, 8 dogs. we had Dobies and all kinds of border collies, Springers, and we have a farm. We have 3 acres, so it's like we have a lot of room for them to run. But we have a blended family, 4-legged.
I grew up with 4 dogs and lots of cats and horses, so I get it.
And I've had 7 dogs, and I grew up on 10 acres, so I get it.
Yeah, it's much nicer than being in the city. I've always hated being in the city. For the first 5 years of my life, I lived in Kansas City, Kansas, Reno County. So a lot of hurricane territory there.
Yeah.
So I learned early what to watch for, and which is a good thing because we actually had a tornado come and land on my barn. And my son was standing outside and called me at work and said, "Mom, there's something out here and it looks like a big funnel." I said, "Where are you standing?" He says, "I'm out on the deck," which at that time the deck was all enclosed in glass. I said, "Get in the house right now." Just after he got in, it just blew it. It just blew all the glass out. And it went down to the barn and peeled up the roof a few times, a few feet of roof. And then it went down the end of the street and tore up a tree. It's like, okay, it is what it is.
My favorite one was sitting in Denny's eating some meal. I can't quite remember now because that was
must not have been good.
50 something years ago. Anyway, so I could see it coming. I could see the signs being ripped off. And I had an idea what would happen. I don't know whether it was a presentiment. I feel it was a presentiment. I told the person eating with me, put your head down below the table.
Yes.
And the window blew out, and everything in that place was sucked out the window. We would have been stabbed or hit or cut or whatever had I not known to get under the table.
Yeah, it's like, like I said, I was a kid, so, you learn early what to do and what not to do.
That's true. Okay, I have another question. You build up the angel warriors, and I don't really know much about that.
Warrior angels, they're really coming into their own over the last, 30, 40 years. Okay. And what's happening is warrior angels are special. There's a hierarchy in heaven. There's God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and then there is the archangels. The Legion of Light is the highest. And then there are the archangels, and then next comes the warrior angels, and then the common angels, and then the common soul. Warrior angels are angels that are trained by the Legion of Light to do battle with the dark ones. And each one of them has their own individual specialty. Some are healers, some are communicators, some are facilitators. It's just some are healthcare, healthcare healers. Some do herbals. It just depends upon the individual where the need is. And like I said, they have to be totally and completely dedicated to heaven in order to make the grade of being a warrior angel. Not just any angel can do it. And there are over 300,000 of them in physical form in the world today. There are over 3 million of them walking the earth in spirit form.
Has there been more lately coming to earth, do you think?
Over the last 30 to 50 years, there's been more and more of them. In the last 6 years ago, God said, "I'm going to awaken the warrior angels." He says, "I'm going to activate them." I'm like, okay. So what he did was he activated the warrior angels so that they would suddenly say, why can I do this? How am I able to do this? Or how am I able to do that? And what am I and who am I? And I've had several thousand of them come to me in the last 6 years because I can tell them what their name is, because it's a very powerful thing. A warrior angel has to know its name, and it has to be kept, between the individual and the angel. But because I have a warrior archangel inside of me, I can tell them exactly who they are, what their job is in this lifetime, and what their name is.
Sorry, just one more question about can you tell right away when you see someone? Do they have
Yeah.
something
I can tell from a picture. I can tell from an email. I can tell from just talking to them on the phone or video link or anything. Yeah. It's just like automatic. It's kind of like demons speak in Aramaic, the old language.
Mhm.
And my brain is just hardwired to interpret it, so I can understand exactly what they're saying. I've had people that wanted to see what I see, and it's like, I had a friend, he says, I really want to go with you on a removal. And I said, okay, but make sure you're protected. And he went with me, and there were multiple demons at this location. And what he took for protection was a crystal hung around his neck. I'm like, that's not gonna cut it. I'm busy removing the first two, and then I hear him telling me, saying, get it off me, get it off me. I'm like, oh crap, crap. Michael, get it off him, will you? But then he wanted to see what I saw. So when we went outside and I went to remove the ones that were outside, I told him, I said, hold my hand and you can see, I'll let you see what I see. So he grabbed hold of my hand and he saw these two huge demons. And he says, what are they saying? He says, I can't understand it. I don't understand the language. Mm-hmm. I said, that's never anything complimentary. So don't worry about it. You're not missing anything. And when they started running towards us, that's when he let go of my hand. He broke the connection and I put my hand up and stopped it. But it's like, he's like, I never want to see that again. No, not again. Never. I'm like, okay. I said, I didn't think you'd want to see it in the first place. I said, I see this all my life. It's like when I was on Ghost Adventures with Zach Baggins, it was the same thing. I want to see what you see. I'm like, yeah, no, you don't. He's sorry for that. He was sorry for that one, man.
I thought I knew your face. I saw that episode. But anyway, please tell us about it.
Can I just ask one question about the eyes before you get into that?
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you know anything about if the color of a demon's eyes means anything? Because when I had experience, they were white. So nobody knows what that is.
Yeah. Usually that's why I tell people, if you want, like, say, if you have somebody come to you, you think it's your friend or whatever, and look at the eyes, because the eyes will tell you. The old demons and Lucifer have golden eyes. And the minions, the shadow people, the lesser demons, they all have red eyes. And the ones with the white eyes are the ones that are in transition. They're transitioning they're evolving. People don't understand. Demons evolve just as humans evolve and angels evolve. And there are some, unfortunately, that try to push their own evolution. And when they do, they go like cuckoo. They go crazy. If it was a human, I'd say, man, you went off the deep end and you ain't never coming back. So those are the ones. Lucifer will kill him because he doesn't like that, because it's goes against what he thinks should be. So if I don't kill him, he kills him.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Wow. So, June, you've written lots of books. What was your first book?
My first book wasn't paranormal. My first book was Petals, Golden Wings. It was a children's book. My cousin's son needed a book for his English class in the high school. So I wrote it in about 45 minutes, but it seems to get like 5-star reviews. I couldn't get a regular traditional publisher to publish it because it mixes fantasy with Christianity. So they didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I thought, okay, I'll just do this.
That must have been published a little while ago.
Oh, yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
So Angie is a big fan, and like big fans, they always want to know when your favorite next book is coming out. She wants to know about Angel Primer.
Actually, the angel primer is, I've got all the information put into the document, the book itself. Now my job is to put it where it needs to go, get it in order. And of course, as you go through it, you think, oh, I forgot this, or I need to add that, So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm hoping to have it out before March of next year, because I'll be a lecturer and speaker at the Ghost Conference, Oregon Ghost Conference, which is the third weekend in March.
And her warrior angel's name is Letitia, and her partner is Demetrius.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Angie. Do you have another question?
I want to know about you going on Zach Bagan's show.
Yeah, that's great.
I was at work one day, and I have a friend, Jeff Davis, and he has a lot of connections. And he gave him my name and said, you need to, because we did an investigation in Astoria, Oregon, which is right on the bay there. And I removed some demons when I was down there. And so he gave him my name. So Jeff Ballinger gave me a call, and he said, listen, I've heard, this is what you do. And he says, we're going to be down there next weekend, and we want you on the show. And just after he said that, he heard this growling in the phone, and then it disconnected, and he called me right back. He said, what was that? I said, nothing, just a demon. It's usual. Pray continue.
Well, I got to tell you, Zach needed you before he went into the demon house, because it permanently ruined his life.
The thing is, I told him, it's between me and him. I told him, I said, when I went there, I said, I have a message for you. I said, this old demon has sent me with a message for you, and you better heed it. I said, if you get an old demon that's coming to come down here and give you a message, that never happens. You must have pissed somebody off down there. Mm-hmm. So when he got there, I told him, I said, you need to stop provoking. You need to stop disrespecting the demons. I said, or you're going to have a problem. Mm-hmm. And that was before he went to the demon house. And that was the same demon that went to the house.
Wow. So I went to, the two of us went to the museum. My first trip to the museum, one of the doll in the glass box spoke my name through the speaker. And then when I went in to see the Dybbuk box, I walked up to it. I said, man, that thing doesn't look all that bad. And all of a sudden, right in front of me, the lid cracks open and some sand falls out.
Mm-hmm. I went,
whoa, that's too much for me.
I went down in 2018 and cleared it out.
Oh, good.
They didn't, people were, Michael came to me and said Vegas. And I'm like, oh God, do you know how I hate Vegas? Come on, give me a break. He's like, no, you need to go to Vegas. I'm like, why? And he says, because the demons have been bringing people together to give Zach all this stuff, which has demonic attachments, because they want to open a dark portal, like a massive dark portal there, to let some of them through. And I'm like, really? Give me a break. So me and a couple friends did a girls trip, and we went down there, and it was so busy that I had to do it from outside. And so I stood outside. It took me about 20 minutes to clear it all out, clear everything out that was there.
So of course, I'm sorry, please finish.
And so then I thought, okay, let's go ahead inside so we can make sure we didn't miss anything. And so I didn't miss anything. And so I went through the whole place, and it was clear. But, he didn't know I went there. One of the guards that was there, he said, I know you. He says, I was there in Astoria. I said, yeah, that was me. All right. I said, I've come to clean out the house.
Yes, I was going to say 2 years ago, she and I went, and after we got about a third way of the tour, she had to leave.
Yeah, because he keeps bringing things in.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Yeah, and it gets to the point. I told him, I said, I don't want to make this my life mission, but there were so many demons in there, and old demons. I'm not talking about the younger ones, the lesser ones. There was huge amount of old demons there. And it was just when they open a dark portal, they can come into our world without anything, without any problem. And they
I just
wanted
can't even imagine what came with Ed Gein's cauldron.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, it was bad.
Dark portals at all. I had no idea there was a dark portal.
Oh yeah,
I know
dark
portals, but
yeah, dark portals are like where the white light portals are where the souls come and go. When they're ready to go into the light, they use the portals. Well, the dark portals are made strictly by the demons, and they use them to get in and out of our world.
Oh,
And so only an archangel can destroy a dark portal. So I can't tell you how many I've destroyed. But whenever I find them, I have to destroy them, because if you don't, they'll just continue. It's like somebody put up a free beer sign and said, "Come on down."
You must be really popular in hell.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Lucifer and I have conversations from time to time.
I bet.
Really? What's
yeah.
that like?
People always think that Lucifer's, typifies evil. But in some ways he does. But there is that respect between the archangels and him. He does have that respect. And I have a friend that has the Archangel Hanel within him. He lives in Glasgow. And Hanel and Lucifer used to be best friends before the war. So he does not begrudge him or carry any ill will towards Hanel, because he fought for what he deserved. And one time, my friend, he calls me Auntie Auriel. And he says, I asked Elle, as he calls him Elle. He says, I asked Elle what he thought of Auntie Auriel. And he said, you know what his response was? And I said, it's hard to say. And he said, respect the assassin.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's basically what she is, assassin.
So you've done a lot. You call exorcisms removals?
Yeah, well, exorcism's exorcism. Removals, I call them that when if somebody comes to me and they have a demonic attachment, then I call them removals, because I just kill the darn thing. So it's like not a problem. I detach it and kill it. An exorcism is different. It's like I did a show called Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, a friend of mine. And the woman, I had like over 300 requests for help in the first week. And so this one lady said, I'm possessed. I have like a lot of demons inside me. And I thought, send me a picture. And she sent me the picture. And I'm like, oh, crap. Yeah. Okay. There was 11 of them there.
Whew.
So I had a friend that is an ordained minister. And then my other friend who's the other half of Ghosts and Girls, my paranormal group. And I said, I told Aaron, he's the ordained minister, I said, you need to come. God said that you fear the dark ones, and you can't fear the dark ones and do the work. So I said, come in your priestly garb and bring your stuff. And I told my friend, I said, you've never done this before. You've never seen this before. You've never encountered this before. I said, so you need to prepare. You need to protect yourself. Because when I'm dealing with these things, I cannot, be sidetracked. I have to focus. So it was like, it took us about 3.5 hours from start to finish, which is a long time for me. It usually doesn't take me that long. But of course, they're fighting tooth and nail. We get down to the last one. And I can look into their brain. I can get in their brain and see how they found the woman to attach to her, what he's been doing to her, and why he's hiding out in her. And so what I found out was that he was given a job by Lucifer, and he just didn't bother to do it. He just said, screw you, and went on his merry way. And so he was basically hiding out in this woman.
Oh,
And so I told him, I said, if you want to go home to the light, I said, you can, if you're truly repentant. And he's like, I can go home. I said, yeah. I said, if you really want to. And I said, Jesus, come forth. And my friends are standing in front of me, and I'm standing behind the woman, and she's sitting in a chair. And my friends parted as this big arm and hand came out towards the woman. It was so bright. They said it was just almost blinding. And I told the demon, I said, there you go. I said, if you want to go home, you can go home. At the last minute, he said, no, you're lying. I can never go home. So he pulled back. And I said, so be it. And I said, Lucifer, come forth. And my friends saw this entity magically appear at the end of the hallway and start walking towards us. And what they saw was, a shadow type person in a fedora, double-breasted suit, spats, that type of thing. I saw him in his true form, but he came towards us, and he told the demon, come with me.
mm-hmm.
And the demon said, no, I'm not leaving, and you can't make me. And he looked at me and said, I know you don't want me to harm the woman, so I will be back for it later tonight. And I said, okay. So he walked back down the hallway and disappeared. And we all went home. And about 3 a.m., we all woke up in our respective beds and heard Lucifer say it's done. And I called the woman the next day, and she says, I haven't felt empty like this in 20 years. It's amazing. I said, get some counseling. I said, you have PTSD, get counseling.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah, it's bad. But yeah, that was the worst one. That was one of the worst ones. I mean, a simple one would be one demon or two demons.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have so much to ask you, but I want to know your opinion on shadow people and also incubus. Have you ever dealt with incubus before?
Yes, they're a pain in the rear. They are, I think of them, the incubus and succubus, I think of them as like the tricksters, because they'll attach themselves to someone and they'll come and go. They won't always stay there. Mostly demons, most of the time, will just stick with the person like glue. But they come and go. The incubus and succubus come and go. And they'll like make you think that they're gone for good. And then they'll come right back again. That's just like, aha, fooled you. And they're a royal pain in the butt to get rid of because of that. You have to be able to strike when they're actually active with the individual. If you can do that, then it's no problem. But the shadow people are minions. The minions are, shadow people, the creepy crawly dudes. They used to call them imps. I call them creepy crawly dudes. And the harpies. The harpies are that sort of thing too. But they're a pain in the rear. Shadow people like their own territory. They don't like any other demons in their territory. And if you find more than one shadow person, that's unusual. It doesn't happen very often. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've encountered more than one in a location. Because they don't want anybody else in their territory.
My parents moved into a place, and I think I was 19, and I lived in the basement. It was my room, and I was laying on the bed, and I saw a little pinprick of a bright light on the wall, and it got really long and narrow. It was bright, and the shadow man slid out of it, and his face was sideways, and his body was front ways, and the shadow was like skin tight. You could tell he was naked, but he didn't have any legs, and he slid into the really dark room. And then I didn't see him again, but I would feel like something sit on the bed. Lots of weird stuff happened. But anyway, and then a few years ago, I lost my mom, dad, boyfriend, and friend for strange circumstances. And I woke up to having an incubus situation, And I kept that to myself for a couple of years. I think it was like 4 years ago it happened now. So that's what I'm asking. A lot of people don't have answers to what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. They're a pain in my rear.
Yeah. That's true.
But they're easy enough to get a hold of. You just have to make sure that you get them at that moment when they're actually with the individual that they're abusing, so to speak. And
Right.
if you can do that, then you can get rid of them in an instant.
So my experience is one I want to talk about is I was an intelligence officer for a while,
Uh-huh.
and I traveled to do intelligence work in Israel, and I was at the embassy.
Mhm.
And the embassy at that time was in Tel Aviv, and it was, when you do that kind of work and you see what goes on and you know actually what goes on, it is not very pleasant. Okay, so I decided that I really needed a little time off, so I decided to take the weekend and go to Jerusalem, and I did, and walked through the East Gate onto the West Bank and went to the Olive Garden and then back, and then as I was walking back, almost aimlessly, I looked up and I was at the doors of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre with absolutely no idea how I managed to get there, but you'll probably figure something was helping me. So I went inside, and I was really appalled to find the Greek Orthodox surrounding the so-called tomb with their hand out for money. It really bothered me. So anyway, I decided to wander through the place to try to get some notion of what those graves were like, because that one's covered up. Well, with a shroud, you can't see it unless you pay money. So anyway, I went down into the place further, and I found a room with four tombs in it, and there were several of us in there. And we were all just kind of contemplating some things, and all of a sudden, all sound deadened completely. You couldn't hear anything. And all of a sudden, I heard, and I'm assuming the rest of them, given the looks on their faces, we heard this roaring wind. And the roaring wind did not ruffle our clothes, but here's to me, the really miraculous part. I won't forget it, or the moment of it. I heard a clear whispering voice in my head that said, Rock of Ages. And on the last sound of Ages, all of us in unison broke into the song. And it was one emotional experience. I mean, wow.
Well, that's how upstairs communicates. I call heaven upstairs. It's how they communicate telepathically. Just like, they consider it a higher form of communication. Verbal communication, they consider a lower form of communication. That's why when I go into a location and people are asking me what's going on, and I'm trying to converse with the other side or the demon or whatever's there, it's all done telepathically. And so they want to know what's happening. They want to blow by blow. And I'm like, I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, in my case, I was a hardcore scientist and engineer, and that began my. Yeah.
Get my puppy real quick. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No worries.
That began my personal transformation, and then after I had shortly thereafter, after going to Afghanistan in 2001 and coming back, I ended my field work. So, and I started aiming for what I was going to do next in life because I was tired of that. I became a professor at Virginia Tech, but I still had connections working with them. So I began to hear about Chris Bledsoe, and I offered him to come over because I knew the scientist friend of his had passed. Mm-hmm. And I waited 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and he finally said, okay, you can come over after Christmas and early January. I went over and talked to him and had all this interesting experiences. And he told me a lot about his life and all the things that had happened to him, about the lady visiting him, the Madonna-like figure.
Mm-hmm.
And he also told me that the chief of the clandestine service of the CIA told him to let me in, that it was going to be interesting. And so it has been interesting ever since. I mean, I was followed home by the things he sees, and they've been a part of my life. And then she reached out to me near the end of my mother's life and said she's going to pass, and did a reading for me. And I knew she was real, and we began talking. And I recognized, tell me if I'm wrong, I believe I'm the first person she ever told about the incubus story. Am I? Yeah. Okay. So so it was just so interesting. I figured out that some of her quote dreams were actually abduction experiences, and I pat myself on the back for being clever enough that as she went through the dreams, I was recognizing them, but I didn't say anything about them until I had written all these dreams down. And then I went off and got books and papers and stories and videos so I could show her that each and every one of those quote dreams was an abduction story related by hundreds of people. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's a lot of people that do that. I just don't want to deal with them. I was 8 months pregnant, and it was, spring, the beginning of spring, and we live in the country, and so I have like a 3 acres field, and at that time we had a big, huge picture window, and I was laying there, and all of a sudden I see this light coming, and it stops right above our field, and I'm like, and I could hear what they were thinking. I could hear them in my head. I'm like, holy shit! I need to close down. Once I closed down, then the ship just went straight up, and it was gone.
So in our case, we've been doing low-level interaction, but then as we got to be more and more frequent, because when we came together, we had electronic voice phenomenon, poltergeist, all this stuff in the house. The two of us were like generating a cauldron. Anyway, so we were on the deck, and we were looking for these little craft that fly over all the time. So she says, hand me the camera. I want to take a picture. So she took this picture, and she wasn't aiming at the sky. She was aiming at the ground in the backyard. And we got this picture of big old gray alien face embedded in this smoke. And it talked to us and told us that it wanted us to help with disclosure, that they were coming, and it wanted us to help desensitize the planet Earth to their coming. And well, we're telling the story, but I don't want to serve anything bad.
Yeah, the gray ones are not what I've got from them. No, not the gray ones. The blue ones are okay, but the gray ones I don't like.
This is what they call the tall gray. It was about 6 feet tall.
Yeah, that's the ones that's the ones I figured out what were in their minds. And I could hear them, and it's like, oh, no, you don't.
So we have a video in the front of our house of one of them coming through that same kind of smoke, walked up a step and into the house. That night she was abducted, and they left a triangle bruise on her arm.
Yeah, I don't like them.
What is their goal? Do you know?
Yeah, their goal is they cannot procreate anymore. And when they do, they're not healthy. It'd be like, like somebody with incest, in the old days, the children used to be born, with all kinds of physical ailments and things like that. But so they're looking to breed, and they want to breed with us, the people that have psychic abilities. The stronger the ability, the more they want to, shall we say, get that geno into theirs.
That's a common story amongst abductees that they've been told. And Cat M wants to know when they're coming. I have been told by multiple people they are coming in a couple of 3 years. So we'll see.
Did you get
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, did I? Oh. Ah. What happens to people that get demonic attachments and become deeply influenced by the demons and do bad things and don't remember doing it? When they die, how does God receive them?
Oh, he receives them just fine because it's not them that's doing it. It's God told me one time, he says, I judge you by your heart, not necessarily by your actions. He says, it's like it says in the Bible, everything, it's not that which goes into the mouth that defiles the man, but that which proceedeth from the mouth, because everything that proceedeth from the mouth proceedeth from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So he judges you by your heart, not necessarily by your actions.
My father was a minister, and he said a lot of people think because of things they've done in their path, they're going to hell.
Yeah,
And
no.
of course, he constantly preaches what God's grace actually means.
Right.
And so his favorite way of putting it, so that people kind of get it, is Jesus walks up to you and puts his hands on both sides of your face. And when he looks at you, he does not see your past. He sees your heart and your potential.
Exactly.
That is a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah, it's true. Because, like I said, I have many talks with God because I can hear him like I hear you. So it's like, it's not, I think that's from the connection because of Auriel. That's why I can see him and I can hear him.
Tammy wants to know if you know anything about reptiles and are they healers?
There are some that they call reptilians that are not good. There are people don't know this, but there are ancient demons that have been sleeping for a long time. And the ancient demons use the reptilians as their servants. And the only reason that they serve the ancient demons is because they're scared shitless. Because the demon take one swipe and you're dead. When an ancient demon dies, it's different. When I kill an ancient demon, when you kill a regular demon, it's like you slice through them and the molecules spread among the stars. When you kill an ancient demon, it's like there's blood all over the walls, all over the ceilings, it's like a massacre because they bleed, but not blood. It's energy that they release. And they're nasty bastards.
Yeah, so I've been told that by other abductees who know a bit about the reptiles because they're taking them, is that they seem to feed on our energy.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Energy vampires.
Wow. And of course, there's the nasty things they do to women and stuff like that. They're not great.
I just slice through them. No problem. I don't like them any more than I like the ancient ones.
Just don't. Yeah. Tammy says, if you want to see a reptile, just don't.
Yeah. Don't even go there, man.
What's
it's not cool.
I have a question. When people do get possessed and they're not aware, in the movies, they're always they see themselves in a house or in a room. Like, do they see themselves somewhere calm or, so they don't fight that?
Well, there's a misconception. There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation. If people think that when you're possessed 24/7, 365 days a year, but that only happens if there is more than one demon in residence, shall we say. Because the reason what started the war between heaven and hell was because the demons, they weren't demons at the time. Lucifer was their leader, and we had traveled the different galaxies, and we had seen everything that could be seen. We saw planets being born, civilizations being created. We used to have physical form at one time. And so we evolved into pure energy. And so we traveled for billions of years. And then the consensus was, we're tired of this. We've seen everything. We've learned everything. We want to have physical bodies again. And Lucifer and his followers didn't want anything to do with it. We do not want to be subject to disease, growing old, pain, to being in a physical shell. We don't want it. So that's what started the war between heaven and hell. So when it was over, Lucifer was disarmed by Michael, and Auriel disarmed Lucifer's son. And God said, you cannot live among us anymore. So he opened up a rift into a dark realm, and that's where he put him and his followers. And so that's, and ever since then, every body, every physical body contains a white light soul. And that's when we are the most vulnerable. And so that's why they attack humans. People ask, why do they attack humans? I'm like, that's why. They want revenge. When they first were put into the dark realm, they were good with it. Oh, cool. We don't have to deal with any of that. We don't worry about that. But then as the billions of years go by, they've grown angry and resentful and vengeful. So there you have it. That's why they're after the physical world.
What happens to people that accidentally enter active portals? People have disappeared that way. The government knows about these portals sometimes, and they try to hide them from us.
Yeah, they do. They go into a different dimension. There are 26 realms of existence. 26 of them. And so, this is just one realm. I mean,
like people say that Earth is a lower realm.
It is. It is a lower realm, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The 3D realm, yes, it's lower because nobody in their right mind wants to be here.
That's true.
But I've been to all.
Well, I mean, it's full of pain and angst.
Yeah, I've been through all 26 realms of existence, and there's some really nice ones that it's like crystalline worlds, and then there are some not so nice ones. But for the most part, they're pretty good.
All right, this is a normal question. What's your take on the mantis aliens? Are they okay, or don't go there?
On what?
The mantid aliens. Are they good? Don't go there.
Don't go there. I don't like them. Yeah. They don't have our best interests at heart. Let's put it that way.
No, anything that would come from a long way or whatever, from another dimension, whatever, to visit us, they have an agenda. I mean, come on. And the idea is...
Yeah, why would you come all this way if you didn't have an agenda?
Right, and I dislike it immensely that our people representing us decided to make a deal with them for technology or whatever. That really pisses me off.
Oh, yeah. But it's typical bureaucratic BS.
Mm-hmm.
I understand some of it in that at the end of World War II and up until the 1950, it looked like we were in an existential crisis and we were headed toward World War III with the Soviets, and we were looking for advantage and didn't think it wouldn't come without an awful price.
Yeah, always.
Can't take shortcuts.
No, you can't.
Did she ask another question? I can't see it.
I'll get to it. You ask one.
I'm interested to know how you got started in removals and exorcisms. What got you on that path?
When I went for a visit through the white light, and Michael's like, "Wake up! This is what you need to start doing." I'm like, "Man, you didn't give me a manual for with this stuff, It's like, I need a how-to manual like that." And he's like, "No, you don't." He says, "All you need to do is merge with Auriel." So he merged the soul consciousness with the physical consciousness, so that I can see what she sees, I hear what she hears, I know what she thinks, I know the information that she has. So it's like when I look through her eyes, I don't see the physical world. I see the energy that creates the physical world.
Wow.
So it's totally different, whether it's a rock or a house or a tree. It's energy to it all. And so that's why a lot of times I know up to a year in advance when a demon's coming, an old demon's coming, and it's like, I tell people, don't be messing with them, I told Clyde, Clyde Lewis, I'm like, don't mess with them. Don't be calling out their names. Don't be doing things like that because you'll make me come over here and remove the damn demon from you.
Yeah, they listen. They definitely listen.
Oh yeah, they do.
Can physical objects hold consciousness?
It can't. It cannot. It's hard to explain. It's like the debit box. It had a demon attached to it. The demon was bound to the object. But people think, oh, it's bound to the object. It can't hurt anybody. That's not true. It can influence for miles and miles around.
Oh,
I'm telling you, it's like, okay, so I'm attached to this little box, but I see you 10,000 miles away and I'm going to kick your butt.
oh my God. I didn't know that at all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do. They can. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How was your day? Thank you for the help and guidance you've given me. Angie is endlessly grateful.
I know Angie. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I can see. I'm a voracious reader. I'm gonna have to read your books.
I'll get the audiobooks. I have 80 days.
I don't have any audiobooks out there.
Well, he reads.
I'll read them to her.
That's fine.
I'll read them to her.
Yeah.
I know we have about
8 minutes.
8 minutes. So I wanted to ask you, with all you've experienced, done, learned, what's the most powerful thing that you've learned from everything that you've been through?
Thought becomes reality.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power, whether for good or bad. And the other thing one piece of advice I give people is if you're out on an investigation or you're in a location and you think you see something negative, absolutely do not acknowledge it. To acknowledge it is to make it turn around and see you, and then you're screwed.
I mean, it just amazes me that the people, let's take one particular example. My audience will know the people that are surrounding and been active with and involved with Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes.
Don't understand these people that are going there looking for directed energy weapons or technology to fight our enemies. They're bringing their negativity with them, and negative happens.
Oh, yeah.
The people that go there with open hearts and love in their heart and mankind and trying to gain information, they have a much better time of it.
Yeah, somebody contacted me about Skinwalker Ranch doing something there, but I'll wait and see.
My interest is doing a technical thing for them. I'm not sure that I actually want to go with it because I have this ability that I think will help them. It may or it may not, and it's easy for me to do, but I'll figure out whether I want to go or not.
I do have one more question. Are there symbols or objects that like the everyday person can have to protect themselves?
Yeah, it depends upon the belief system. People, it's all about the faith in whatever it is. If you're Jewish, it's the Star of David. If you're, a Catholic or another type of Christian, it's the cross with the image of Jesus on it. It cannot be a representation. It has to be the image. But those type of things, and like I said, it's about your faith in them. You have absolute faith that is going to protect you. A lot of people think, oh, if I just wear a cross. No, that's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it. When I started doing demonic removals, God and Michael said, you know what? You need something to protect the people that you're working on. So he gave me a recipe for black salt. I'd never even heard of it at the time. And he says, this is how you make it. I'm going to bless it at each step of the making of it because I make it by hand. And it's never failed in 40 years to protect. It will keep things out if you seal your property line with it, or if you wear it in a necklace. I have a sister group that I created in England called Ghosts and Girls UK, and they wear the a cremation necklace with the black salt in it, and when they're in the
Mhm.
presence of something negative, it starts heating up. It gets almost too hot to wear. That
wow.
shows it's protecting. But that, and you can put holy water over your windows and doors and things like that. I wish I could tell you that there's an absolute 100% way to protect yourself. If you carry the black salt with you, that will help. If you wear it in a necklace, but I'd be lying if I said that you're gonna be 100% good. I mean, crystals, hang that up. Crystals, they only they only amplify the energy that's put into them. If you got a crystal and then you got a demon there, it's going to amplify that demonic energy. I mean, it's like, no, hello, don't do it.
Hey, folks, anybody want our crystal collection?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you for sure. I was called on a case where, the paranormal group said, here, put these crystals in all four corners of your house, and it'll keep the demon from bothering you. It'll keep it away. He woke up. In the middle of the night, he was clawed and pulled out of his bed, and he checked the crystals. They were all broken in half.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, see, I like these crystals. I don't want to, probably took a little bite out of it and thought it was a Tootsie Roll.
And I'm telling you, they just like broke it in half.
I'm sure they did. Wow.
It's like, okay. I said, you have a portal in your backyard, right? You knew that? He's like, no. I said, come over and feel. He had like a tool shed. I said, come over and put your hand on the tool shed. He says, it's vibrating. I said, yes, because there's a portal there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like, hello.
That's interesting. You need to go in our bedroom and do that.
We have a portal in the bedroom and we got it on video. We have it in the backyard. But okay. First of all, I want you to come back. I love you. You're awesome. And also, can you please tell everybody where they can find you and anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah. My books are all on Amazon.com. Just put in June Lundgren. You can find them. You can go to my website, which is mysticconnections.org, O-R-G, or also demonseer.com. It plugs into it. So either one of those. And if you need to get a hold of me, if you need help, there's a contact page in there. If you want a reading, I do readings. And then you can just, you can do it there. You can put in for one there.
I'm getting a reading. I'm going to buy a reading from you, definitely.
Yeah, that's. I think that's probably a good idea.
Where did you put it?
No. I was trying to find a link to put it in. But I'll do it later. I'll put it in. I think it's in the YouTube video description, and people can go there and click on the description, because she gave us a lot of stuff to put in there. We put every bit of it in there.
Yeah, it's like I'm 100 pounds less than I was back in the day. So.
A mere shadow of your former self.
Yeah, I can kill demons faster. that is, if I can keep myself off the roof, I'll be okay.
Well, let me say it was really a pleasure. I remember your episode with Zach Bagans. Now we've gone through it. Yeah, and there's a lot to learn from you. And thank you for being so easy and available to share this knowledge.
This is awesome.
And for writing your books. And for providing multiple ways that people can gain knowledge from.
Yeah, it's all about that. That's what that's part of my mission in this lifetime, is to, to get people the knowledge to help themselves. And that's why,
God bless you, June, and thanks for your teachings.
Yep.
Everybody, it was a wonderful, wonderful show tonight. We are very happy you're here. And please tell all of your friends and acquaintances to come watch the video and visit June's websites and other accesses and take a look at her books, because I'm going to go get a couple. Thank you very much for being here. It is very much appreciated.
Thanks for having me. I talked too much. There you go.
No, you did great. No. It wasn't long enough. Goodbye, everybody.